The Cuties movie on Netflix. Is it pedo bait? Is it Oscar bait? For a lot of YouTubers, it seems to be clickbait. What is it really? I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. I'm gonna be watching it in about 5 minutes. When it comes to these controversies where people are in an uproar trying to cancel, individuals or companies, in this case, so there's like a hashtag boycott Netflix, I always get curious because, are things really as bad as they seem? Could something this egregious really exist that is making so many people angry? What's the real scoop? And I figured, hey, I'm the guy who one of my favorite movies is a Serbian film, and I can almost guarantee that has worse shit than this Netflix movie is gonna have. So I figured I'd be the guy who can, swoop in, watch whatever grotesque, amoral garbage is out there, and then I can come back. And you guys know how brutally honest I tend to be. I can come back and give an honest, thoughtful review to all of you at home, even if it's a very uncomfortable subject. One thing I will say is that, unlike a lot of the people, my fellow YouTubers, for example, or a lot of people on Twitter, I will not be showing any images from the film. I will not be showing any scenes or footage or any of that. I know a lot of people who are upset about it on Twitter, or they seem to be archiving the most raunchy, deplorable scenes in their tweets, which seems, kind of like the opposite of what you should be doing. If you're a YouTuber and your whole point is it's deplorable that they made a movie sexualizing children, it's probably not the best idea to clickbait those sexualized children's images in the thumbnail of your fucking YouTube video. That's just me. Maybe that's just me. If my video gets less than 100 views because the thumbnail's just this fucking beautiful face, that's fine. I'm just here to review the movie, to let you all know, because I know a lot of you aren't gonna watch it. A lot of you probably already boycotted your Netflix, and that's fine. I don't really give a shit. I have no stake in this. But I'm gonna watch it so that you don't have to. I'm gonna give an honest review, and I'm not gonna show you any images of the movie. So with all that being said, it's time for me to go watch it, and I intend to vigorously take notes about the film so I can let you all know exactly what's going on. Well, folks, it's a film of pros and cons. We've got red pills and blue pills thrown all mixed together. I guess I'll start off by saying, hey, it's not as bad as the hype would make it out to be, but ultimately, and we'll get into this as deep as I can, I don't think that the film as it exists currently should exist at all. But hey, we'll get into it. Like I said, we got some pros. We actually got a lot more pros than I was expecting. As you all know, just from looking at a photo of the film, it's a film about degeneracy and how degeneracy is affecting and degrading and poisoning the youth of the modern day. But it's not just the degeneracy of 11-year-old girls dressing and acting like disgusting thoughts and sluts and all these things. Surprisingly, and I guess maybe everybody already knows this, but I didn't know this going into it, the film is equal parts about the degeneracy of those things, but also the degeneracy of Islam. And if you know me, listen, I'm an equal opportunity hate monger. I hate all religions. I'm the fedora tipper extraordinaire. But there's a special place of hatred in my heart for Islam, and the fact that this movie is equal parts the degeneracy of Islam as much as the degeneracy of raising our children on slut culture and the internet and all that stuff, there's a bit to dive into. I don't know if you guys are horseshoe theory enthusiasts out there, but there seems to be a lot of both opposite sides are equally dog shit in this movie. And maybe over the course of this review, we will come to find out that one side is actually worse than the other. So I'm just gonna dive into the Islam stuff first, because I don't see that covered as much on Twitter and all that stuff. But it's the story of a Muslim family who moves to France, which automatically this movie's dropping giant red-pilled bombs on us. Je suis Charlie. What? Je suis Charlie. Je suis Charlie. That's all I could think watching as this family was moving in. But no, it's very clear that Islam is not very good, especially to young girls. We got this fucking, this 11-year-old little girl has to wear like the whole hijab shit, you know, like covering her whole damn body, and she's being told, I don't know what they call Islam church, but she's going to these services, and pretty much they're teaching her, hey, women are fucking horrible and terrible. Hell is filled to the brim with women and hardly any men. Way more women in hell than men, because women are disgusting and they have to cover themselves up. And if you don't do that, you're going straight to hell. Allah wants to see you burn. If you're a woman in Islam, no. Forget about having rights. Forget about being a human. You're disgusting. You're degenerate just by existing, and you need to hide your existence. That's why we want you to wear the damn headscarf and cover up and be submissive. Obey your husbands. The girl's mom in the movie is getting cucked. The dad wants to have a second wife, and that's a whole subplot. And the mom, because I guess she did not please her husband, and the husband wants a new wife, she has to like whip herself. Like I don't know what it's called, like flogging or something. She has this whip thing, and she's beating the shit out of her own back while her daughter's hiding under the bed watching. So immediately, this young girl is in a life of degeneracy. It's just not the degeneracy you were expecting, and yes, this will be a drinking game. Every time I say degeneracy, take a sip already, you should be dead. I just don't know a better word to describe it that properly encapsulates both sides of this coin here. So growing up as a young girl in Islam, no good, no bueno, already horrible. So it's no wonder that when she wants to rebel against this family, and now she's moved into, she moved to France, it's a Western culture, they got lots of thottery afoot. It's no wonder why this young girl wants to, by escaping these horrible repressive customs of Islam, and she sees, oh no, you don't cover up your body. Show as much of it as possible. Go to school in a crop top, wear short jeans that cover up only half of your ass. Do it. No, this is great. Dance around like a fucking disgusting slut. It's fine. Oh, you're 11? No, that's encouraged in modern day society. And you know why? You know why? In the movie, I really appreciated this. This movie has a lot of truth to it because the internet. Children should not be on the internet. We've been over this a million times. This is one of my main talking points out of all the things I do. If you haven't listened to the State of the YouTube episode, when we had Anxiety War, when we had him on, we had like a 3-hour, 2-part podcast. He does these videos about how, men, predators will go on all these different apps and look for 11, 12, 13-year-old girls, pretty much like the Chris Hansen To Catch a Predator stuff, but Anxiety War is doing it on his own on his YouTube channel. Pretty good stuff. After this, go check out his stuff. But in that podcast, we came to the conclusion that children should not be on the internet at all, and this movie seems to arrive at the same conclusion. The problem seems to be horrible parenting, bad parenting. These parents are younger and younger these days, giving smartphones to their kids, because, they have to have it, their friends have one, so you fuck it, 10-year-old, here, 10-year-old daughter, here's a smartphone, access to all of the internet, I'm a shitty parent, I'm not gonna look at what you're looking at, just go wild, here, have a laptop. And there are lots of scenes where this young girl and her new friends, who are also 11, they're just on their phones looking at pornography at school. They're like in the bathroom watching fucking blowy joeys and shit. They go on like Omegle, like the video chat thing where it matches you up with strangers, and they match up with a guy, and they're like, oh, you want to see our tits, blah, blah, touch our tits. And it's not the movie's fault. This is the reality that we live in. The internet is not for children. It will never be for children, and yet, these days, parents are just opening them up to this whole world of degeneracy. The internet is for adults. If you're a child watching my video right now, get the fuck off the internet. Actually, no, in fact, load up all of my videos, hand the phone to your parents and say, hey, this is what you're letting me watch. See what happens. See if your parents are up to snuff, or if Child Protective Services should come on in. These young people, these children, are being raised by the internet, and the internet is all about degeneracy and sex, and these girls are watching videos of adults doing these dances, these slutty dances, whatever you want to call them, which is fine. I'm not a Muslim myself. I have no problem with sluts. Gonna slut. It's what they do. It's how they express themselves. The whole feminist movement, you know what? Going topless in public, I'm all for it. If adult women want to walk around with their titties out, more power to them, more power to me. I'm all for it. But the problem is, when you're letting children be raised on the internet rather than by their parents, these are the attitudes and the morality that they're being raised on, and that's very much what the movie is about. These girls are watching videos of adult women scantily clad doing slut dances, twerking and humping the ground like they're having sex. And these girls are like, oh man, that's so adult. That's what I want to be like. This is my role model. This is my new aspiration. This is how I want to be. And, the film really hits the truth about the modern day, the problems with modern day culture, specifically with just irresponsible parents letting their kids be raised by the internet. And now, the main girl has an Instagram and she's posting slutty pics on there. When she stole a guy's phone, and when she has to give it back, she's in a panic and she's like, oh, I only have time to post one more slutty pic. Oh, I'll lock myself in the bathroom and take a picture of my bare fucking vag. 11-year-old girl fucking Instagramming her fucking bare vag. So, in terms of reflecting the culture, I think the movie does a good job identifying the problems, both with the raising a child under the umbrella of Islam and raising a child under the umbrella of internet degeneracy. Both are horrible. At one point, the girl's a Muslim grandma says, oh, when I was your age, 11 years old, I was engaged to a fully grown man. Yep, And I'm like, okay. So really, what is more degenerate? An 11-year-old wearing a crop top and shaking her ass? Or an 11-year-old getting married to an adult man? In my mind, one is a little bit worse, not to say that they're not both horrible, but one's a little bit worse. So, if you can't tell, I appreciate that the film shit all over Islam. But at the end of the day, although I agree with a lot of the messages and how it reflects our society, and it's a good thing that people are so outraged about this, and in fact the movie even identifies this, because the whole point, at the end, the girls they want to enter a dance competition, and they're all dressed up like sluts, and they do their slut dance. And they expect it to be applauded and loved, just like how, the adults who they're watching on YouTube, they're all applauded and loved. And we're 11, but we think that we're adults, because why not? That's the culture we're being raised up in. We're all adults now. Fuck it. We can all do this. It's fine. Everybody approves. But the audience is booing them. And they say, oh no! And they're covering up their eyes and saying, oh, this is horrible. And really, that's what the audience of the film, the main audience, seems to have been doing. So at least the film had that level of self-awareness where the audience in the film is identical to the audience of the film. But this is where I think the problem lies, and I'm not going to say the movie, the ideas presented in the movie warrant its existence. I think this should have been a book. The Triflers by Mumkey Jones, check it out. This movie should have been a book, because then you can have all these ideologies and all these reflections of society and all these thoughts and big brain ideas in book form. Because the thing is, pedophiles, as far as I know, do not read books. They're more tantalized by visual imagery and stimuli. And the problem is, when you're making a movie about the degeneracy of our culture and how it's affecting children, it kind of goes without being said, you shouldn't have actual children actors perform this and dress these ways and put it up on Netflix. So I'm not against any of the criticism, even from people who haven't seen the movie. I've seen a lot of people say, oh, you can criticize it all you want, but if you haven't seen it, it doesn't count. No, having seen it, I still think the criticism is valid. You did not have to take real-life human being little girls and dress them up like this and make them say and do these things. Yeah, I mean, of course people are gonna be upset. The movie knew that they would be upset because in the movie, the extras in the audience get upset when they see it. So overall, I'd say it's not worth watching. As somebody who watched it to make a video about it, it wasn't painful and horrible. I was uncomfortable for a lot of it, but the stuff about Islam really got my goat, and not fucked my goat, but got my goat, if you know what I'm saying. I do think that the movie had something valid to say, because at the very end, this girl who she's a fish out of water Muslim girl living in France, and she's around all this degeneracy from both Islam and from culture, blah, blah, blah. At the end, she rejects both. She runs off the stage, gets rid of her slutty clothes, and then, instead of going to her Muslim dad's, new wedding, she rejects that too, and goes outside and jumps rope. And at the end, the camera's just zooming in, and she's jumping rope. She has a big old smile on her face. And that's the point. That's the point, is that kids in the modern day, it seems like they can't be kids anymore. If they're being raised by the internet and they're looking up and aspiring to be as slutty and disgusting as the teenagers and adults in popular culture, they missed out on being kids. And the idea of being a kid is really frowned upon by these girls in the movie. When teenagers and adults call them kids and make fun of them for looking like kids or acting like kids, they get really offended and upset because they want to seem mature, they want to seem like adults. And that's one of the big problems the movie is pointing out. But when this girl rejects thottery, she rejects Islam, and she just goes outside dressed like a normal kid, playing hopscotch, jumping rope, that's when she's at her true happiest point, because she finally gets to just be a kid. So what is the solution other than don't make this movie, write it as a book instead? What is the solution for the modern day child? What are they to do other than hope that they have responsible parents who don't raise them on fucking Instagram and YouTube and TikTok when they're 11 years old? Can kids still be kids? I don't know. I haven't been a kid for a long time. When I was a kid, I didn't get a phone until I was 13 or 14, I think. I think I was in 8th grade, and it was just a flip phone. A smartphone like this. It wasn't even a question back then. It's such a new phenomenon. That now in the last 5-10 years, now these young little kids are getting phones at younger and younger ages and being raised with full internet access. They really are missing out on being a kid. And that's what the movie's identifying. That's what the book should have been all about, and not showed actual graphic images of children. I don't know. I mean, I don't know the answer. Maybe it's impossible in the modern day. I don't believe it or not, I don't hang out with kids. I don't know if kids are ruined. But I feel like every time I go to family gatherings, Christmas, Thanksgiving, seems like the kids are already, no matter what age, glued to electronics, even if it's my cousin's 4-year-old who's playing on, the mom's iPad. They're just obsessed with games and technology. I don't know the last time I saw a kid play with a goddamn toy. Is it too late? Are all future generations doomed to what Cuties has to offer? I don't know. Let me know what you think. What have you seen? Do kids act the way that the kids in this movie do? Or does childhood still exist the way it did even when I was 11 years old? Let me know in the comments below. The movie, I would say do not be surprised if it's nominated for Best of Foreign Film at the Oscars next year. Considering that only 8 movies are coming out this year total, that would not surprise me. I imagine the uproar that we're hearing now is going to come back full swing with Oscar nominations, so I guess, come back here and let me know I was right, however many months from now. And ultimately, the movie really did make me fucking depressed about the state of our society and the children in it, and how they really don't even stand a chance to escape this, and the things that we value as adults are now being forced onto children due to irresponsible parenting. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe the movie is wrong, but I don't know. Let me know in the comments below.